Okay, here's the braid that I'm going to be demoing. It's a 13-loop flat version of a square braid. So it basically has a transfer on the left, a loop transfer on the left, and a loop transfer on the right. It's one side is braided with a turn and the other braided open, so the braid will open out to be flat as I'm showing it here. I'm going to be demoing how I keep the gray colors in the middle and on the two sides. I do it by something I call loop linking. It's just linking those colors onto the adjacent colors so they turn and go back and don't progress across the braid. So it's a bit awkward here with the loops in the camera. So the braid, it braids folded. It braids like this, like a square braid, and opens later. There are, let's see if this shows, in the braid, there are, as I'm braiding, there will be 4 gray loops on the left outer fingers of my hands. No, 3, I'm sorry. The thumb, A, and B finger will be holding 3 gray loops. On the right side, there are 4 gray loops on the edge of the braid. The thumb, A, B, and C finger will be holding gray loops. And those gray loops will just rotate amongst those fingers. At the end of each cycle, they will end up back on those fingers. And the 3 gray loops on the left will end up back on the fingers where they started. The other loops are 6 bicolor loops, of which they're all different, but the upper shank of each is a warm color generally, and the lower shank is a cool color. So they end up with the warm colors in a row here, and a column there, and the cool colors in a column there. Let's see if I can get this set up. Okay, so I think it shows fairly well. Well, it's the best I can do. Let me tighten up. I'll be a little awkward with this because I'm picking it up today for the first time after not having braided it for a while. Let's just start. So the transfers are broken in half, basically. I'll start the transfer. I'm going to be taking this gray loop with a turn. I'm just going to take it part way through the braid. I'm going to start by going through one loop below it. This will be the loop that gray loop will link onto. So turn. I'm reminding myself to turn it. And then I place it onto the C finger. Now I will finish that transfer. It just came through there and rested. And now the bicolor loop will finish the transfer. It will now be subbing for that gray loop, essentially. I'm going to bring it through. I don't think this may not show in the camera, but basically those 2 loops are now linked to each other, the gray and the bicolor loop. And the bicolor loop will continue across as the gray one would have if I hadn't linked them. I will now, before I do anything else, this loop in a 13-loop braid must get then ferried. Well, I've already made a mistake. That's irritating. I was doing the transfer in the wrong hand. Okay, after a false start or 2, and we start here. I'm just going to start braiding it, and after braiding a few moves, then at that point I'll kind of explain what I'm doing. Let's see if this is far enough that away. Or close enough. Okay, first transfer, turn. Finish the transfer, ferry it, finish the shifts, second transfer, no turn, first shifts, now finish the transfer, ferry it to where it belongs, and shift. Finish the shifts. Tighten. Next cycle, turn. This is the first part of the transfer. Now I'm finishing the transfer. Vary it, shift, make a little room here. Next transfer, starting at that pink bicolor loop, starting there, no turn, temporary hold for the first part of the shift, place it, now finish the transfer, taking that pink loop that the gray one last went through, varying it, and finish the shifts, tighten. So what I'm doing is I'm starting the transfer part way. I'm starting it at the loop that the gray loop will link onto, the bordering color loop. Turn. I need to remember to turn that loop. Place it on that finger, and then finish the transfer by going through the loop I just took, and now taking the loop behind it, which will link onto it. And now, as in the way I do 13 loop braids, I must vary it onto the correct finger, which is there. Then I finish the shifts. Tighten. Other side, going through, starting the transfer with the bordering color loop, the one that the taken loop is going to link onto, this bicolor loop here, the gold one. Going through them, no turn, temporary hold for the first set of shifts, placing that in place to finish the transfer. I go one past the loop I just took, and I'm going to continue the transfer with the loop it last went through, that bicolor loop. I don't know if it shows, but that bicolor loop is now linked onto the gray loop. It will continue instead of the gray loop. They're trading places basically in the braid. Now I vary it to where it belongs and finish the shifts. Tighten. Turn. Finish. Vary. Shift. No turn. Finish, vary, shift, turn, finish, vary, shift, tighten, no turn, temporary hold for the shifting place, then finish, vary, shift, last shifts, tightening it's hard to reach. I'm quite far back because of the camera in between here, so next cycle, turn, place, finish, vary, shift, tighten. So that's how it goes. Oh, I haven't finished my cycle. Here we go. No turn. Finish. Getting that last loop. Vary it. Shift. Tighten. So basically, each time the cycle ends, the 3 gray loops on the left are still there. They've migrated. They've all moved over, and one has linked onto one of the adjoining bicolor loops. And on the right, these 4 loops are still on the first 4 fingers, the outer 4 fingers of the right hand. So the colors, the cycle repeat is, it says a 6 cycle repeat because of the 6 bicolor loops. These ones basically have a 1 cycle repeat. They're always, it's always, not a, what am I saying, the pattern repeat is 6 cycles for these bicolor loops to cycle around and get back on the same fingers. The pattern repeat for the grays is just a 1 cycle pattern repeat. They're always gray. Okay, I'll do it a few more times, but that's the basic idea, that you're breaking the, for this particular braid, you're breaking the loop transfer into 2 parts to allow for that linking. No turn. And here it continues taking the other loop, the one that will sub for the gray loop. Turn. Finish. Vary. And shift. No turn. Temporary hold. Finish. Vary. And shift. Turn. Finish. Vary. Shift. No turn. Done something wrong here. Let's see. I didn't pay attention. I have a gray one here, so I'm going to take this one back. Let's undo that. This always happens when I'm demoing. And oh, just got this one over by mistake. Yeah, okay, I got a gray loop over here and it should be over there. Let's fix that. I undid this one. That turn out of it. Those look good. Okay, so I'm going to shift down, put this gray loop back through. I had taken it instead of, and I'm just going to undo the whole, that whole transfer rather than try and correct it. I'll just get back to, sometimes it seems easier psychologically just to totally undo the whole thing. Okay, so that was in this hand that I messed up, so let's see if everything looks good. They look in the right order. Red, orange, yellow, that looks good. And I can see them coming out correctly there. Okay, so I'll redo that and see if I can catch myself making that, whatever the mistake was. Let's make sure that didn't have a twist. Good. Okay, turn. Finish. I must have gotten the gray loop before. Vary and shift. If you're not paying attention, because the two hands do link in different places, it can be a little confusing. So finish. Vary, shift, turn, finish, vary, shift, no turn. Vary, shift. Let me just check for errors turned any that I shouldn't have. Turn. Finish. Vary. And shift. No turn. Finish, vary, shift, turn, finish, vary, shift. I'm saying this mantra for myself because of I mean, at a certain point, if I braided this a lot, I might not need to use it, but I don't necessarily do this braid very often. In fact, I'd never done this particular, come to think of it, before I started this one, I'd never done this particular sequence of shifting and linking. I mean, okay, so that gives the idea, I think. There's the braid opening out. I can check for errors to make sure I hadn't left any holes in the middle. Okay, might as well show you my new way of, I don't actually often put, or I often do not put braids in a comb anymore. I just, depending on what the structure of the braid is, I see what groups are easy to read at the fell. It's very easy with a V-fell braid to see which order they come out of the fell, basically, and so I just kind of bunch them together in easily identifiable groups later and tie a slip knot at the bottom of a bunch. So I just will tie these like so, the gray section, these two sets of colors I keep separated. Basically, I keep definitely at the minimum, keep the left and right loops in two separate bunches. And with this braid, just to be sure, I'll also put the two color groups in separate bunches. And I just tie a slip knot on the bottom, and when I come back, I undo the slip knot, and it's one group at a time, and it's pretty clear which loop goes on which finger. You just read the fell to see. You can see there let's put the white behind it. They come out of the braid staggered exactly in the order that they go onto your fingers with a V-fell square flat braid. It's very easy to see how to read that and put it on your fingers in the right order. There, so there's my bunch. If it were a very slippery type of material, I would then pull these tight, the right and the left bunch, pull them tight and clip them here and here, or just tie them literally in a knot like that. I can undo later. Okay, thanks for watching. Oh, here's the braid. It looks quite different on the two sides because of, I suppose, the direction of the turn combined with it's much narrower bicolor columns on the what I consider the back, the outside of the book-shaped fold, I guess, and the inside has much wider. This seems sort of brighter and more cheerful. Let me tip the camera. The light's coming in from an angle here. So because of, as I said before, because of the way the bicolor loops are arranged, you end up with a cool color column and a warm color column, because each bicolor loop is has a warm upper shank and a cool colored lower shank. And the grays all stay on, as it was braided, there's two bunches of gray, the right bunch of 4 loops and the left bunch of 3 loops. So it opens on the left bunch of 3 loops, which becomes the center, and the right bunch of 4 loops that aren't connected become the 2 edges, the 2 borders. Linking loops can create a lot of different patterns. This is just one of many that you can get by linking color groups.